All right, I'm going to click the move button or shim button. Now it takes me to the move screen. Now this is why we entered all of the dimensions. We have down here, this tells us I need 9 thousandths of shim underneath the rear of the motor, and I need 17 underneath the front. What that'll do for me, if I change that amount of shim, theoretically these numbers should come to 0. Again, if I lived in the perfect world where everything was perfect and I had exact measurements and I had just everything just right, that would come right to 0. It'll come real close just putting those in there now, but it may not come out right to 0. Same way horizontally, if I move this. We don't have on here shims to change, so I have to loosen the bolts, and it tells me I need to move the front over 9 thousandths. That would bring this right in. Now, on here, when we have to change the shims, you can see this looks like a padlock here. That looks like a padlock, and it looks like it's unlocked, but if I click on that, it will unlock it. Right now, those are locked. The shim values are locked. The reason we do that, sometimes we're moving this around, the numbers will change up here because we're moving the motor. But we don't want to forget how much shim we want, so we lock the shim values so you never forget how much you need underneath the front and the back. Okay, another thing up here, we have a little box. This is kind of like a menu. If I click on that menu, I can view this. In this case, dual view. In other words, I click on that, I'm getting both the vertical and the horizontal pictures. Or I can get here just the horizontal, which is the top view of the pump and motor. I can also change this to the vertical, which is a side view of the pump and motor. Gives me a better idea of what I'm looking at. If I'm doing, when I'm doing both of them at the same time, this is one way of looking at it. I can also just look at the coupling, like here. And if I had entered thermal growth, I have an icon here. I can turn those thermal growth offsets on or off. In other words, had I entered thermal growth offsets, I could turn those off and see when I'm done that I'm at those numbers. When I turn it on, it's going to be applying those numbers, so I'm working to 0 all the time. Okay, on the other side, up on the top left corner, I have here, we're showing the gap. If I click on that, I can tell this that I want to look at the angle. Some people like to look at the gap at the coupling. Some people like to look at the angle in inches per inch. In other words, this angle is 1/1000th of an inch per inch vertically, because I'm looking at the vertical view. If I look at both views, vertical and horizontal, my angles will show up here. These are not gaps now, these are angles, inches per inch. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to loosen this up, and I'm going to get out 9 thousandths of shim for the rear of this and 17 for the front. And then I'll loosen this up and we'll change it and see if I can bring this into alignment. All right, I've got my shims all set up here. I've got 9 thousandths for the rear. And I've got 17 thousandths for the front. I like to put these right where they belong, so even though it's on the screen, I have it in my mind as well. Now, we did a soft foot check before we got here, and you see I loosened and tightened this bolt, and then this one, this one, this one. That's the way I like to loosen it and tighten it when I'm making my moves. You always should have some kind of bolt pattern that you're going to follow. I just like to follow the sequence that's in the program. So I'm going to loosen all 4 of these. And then when I tighten it up, I'm going to tighten this one, then this. Then I'm going to go around in a circle, basically. So I'm going to loosen these up. I want to make sure I have enough room to get that much shim under there. Now I'm going to take a pry bar and I'm going to lift up the rear of this, put my shim underneath it there. You can see my numbers have changed at the top, but my shim values have not changed. They're locked. Okay, so now you see, I haven't tightened it up, but you can see we're right into tolerance right now. But because I'm here and this is measuring both ways, I'm going to try to do my horizontal at the same time. So this is saying I need to move the rear over. Yeah, move the front over. Snug it up just a little bit. Got my angle in. I don't want it tight, I just want to get so it's not moving so easily. Okay, I'm gonna get another set of readings. Tighten that one, tighten that one. Okay, now I've tightened it up. You see I'm right in tolerance here. I can tell you what the problem is I'm having right now. We're using a Lovejoy coupling, and this is reading side to side, horizontally, but it doesn't know if this is moved or this is moved side to side, if these have just changed. That's what's happening. This has flopped over a little bit. My numbers have gone. So there's a way around that. When I moved this from this position, when I took my data, I stopped and everything was calculated with this setting here. If I move this, in other words, if I put this at 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock, it's going to automatically put this in single axis mode. So I've got my vertical in, I'm going to take another set of data, my vertical will still be good. Then I'm going to put it at 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and I can do my horizontal alignment from there. If I had a rigid coupling in there, I could do both moves at the same time. So in order to go back and take data again, I just have to click on the restart button. Over here, and I'll click restart or remeasure. It's going to take me back to this screen. Now I'm going to remeasure that data. Up there where the rotation that you say it's recording. If I go too fast, it's going to tell me there to slow down. Stop this here. You see, there's my vertical data. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to go to the move screen. I'm in tolerance. Just one move, and I got in vertically, but again, because I'm using a Lovejoy coupling. Now if I put this over on the side, now there's my horizontal offset. I need something to prop this up. So, all right, so we'll click the restart button, remeasure. I'm going to take the data again. So I'm going to bring it back up to 12 o'clock. Okay, we're going to accept that. And we'll go back to the shim move screen. Okay, so now because of the play in the coupling, I've remeasured, and now we are all in tolerance. I did make those adjustments, so you see I was having a hard time, but now after I went back and remeasured, I see that I'm in tolerance. And actually, if I lay this on the side, I'm still in tolerance. I can bring it over to this side, I'm still in tolerance. I can stand it up. Now I'm in single axis mode, I'm still in tolerance. Now there's a little bit of play, obviously, because of the coupling, because of the unit that we're on. We have some play in the bearings. It's not really a good unit, but so rather than try to get right down to the nitty gritty, we're in tolerance, that's all we care about. So that's how you take and do an alignment using the auto sweep mode. All right, so if I wanted to put this back into 2-axis mode, all I simply have to do is I can click remeasure and click, yeah, I want to remeasure. It's going to take me back to this screen, and I can go back to the shim move screen. I'll be back in 2-axis mode again, and I'm still in tolerance. Okay, so maybe I want to print this data out. I want to print the report out. I can click home. There's a home button here. It looks like a house, that's home. We'll click home. It's going to take me here, and I can go down here to preview, print the alignment report. So if I click on that, I can include the sawfoot data. I can include the history data. I can print the images in black and white to save ink. There's a few options here. Here's my printer. It's going to print this in a PDF format. We have our own PDF format there, so if for the customer, they may not have our program, so I could actually email this report right from here, save it as a PDF and email the report so they get that. Now if I click preview print, I'm going to preview this. Now this is my setup, and up here in the top corner, this is the page. This is page 1 that you're going to get in your report. This is your setup. If I click up to page 2, okay, this is my alignment results here. I was at 7 and 1, 1 and 1. I go to page 3. Here's my data and my sawfoot data. Now I could from there print this out to get a hard copy. With that pretty much concludes taking data using the auto sweep mode.